saw yesterday, Josh never forgets to plug his book. He never once forgot to plug his book. A few days after Charlie's death, he went on JTV, which is on the global Jewish channel, to discuss that last call with Charlie further with a host named Ali. And here is what Josh says about his book.
We actually did speak for the last time less than 24 hours before the assassination happened. We had a Zoom call, a friend of mine, him, a couple of his producers. It was a small call. We were literally talking, above all, about the anti-Israel questions that he expected to receive on this campus tour. And we were kind of talking him through talking points and strategy and how to deal with these expected hostile questions. And you held on my book, Israel and Civilization, Ali. The last words I think Charlie spoke to me were, he literally said, Josh, when the Israel question comes up, I'm just going to plug your book, Israel and Civilization, because I think that what you write in the book basically is how I feel as well. And that ends up being the last time that we spoke.
Well, you heard him. It's like Charlie's final wish is for you to buy Josh Hammer's book. I mean, he's like, hey, he literally said, the last thing he said to me actually was like, I'm just going to plug your book. What he wanted to do on his tour was just to plug Josh Hammer's book. And it's so sad that he never had the opportunity to plug Josh Hammer's book. Now, let's keep with this interview because he's going to be asked more specifically about certain characters in the movement that are trying to, quote unquote, hijack Charlie's legacy by telling the truth. And remarkably, he is going to work, I swear, he's going to work in his book again. Take a listen.
Precisely as you mentioned, there have been people who like Ian Carroll, and it pains me to mention her name, Candace Owens, because I know how close she was and maybe still is to Charlie. But at the end of the day, she's chosen to hijack his death right now to blame it on Israel. I mean, it's just so disturbing. But then you have the people who are sort of a bit more in the middle. Maybe I wouldn't even say in the middle, but they're teetering a bit. The Megyn Kellys, the Michael Knowles and others, kind of in this in-between. What do you think's going on there with them?
Yeah, look, I mean, we can talk about every commentator one by one, but I think it's kind of easier to make a few kind of generalizations, right? I think a lot of folks are kind of just trying to take their commentary to where they see the perceived momentum, especially among the younger generation there. But so I think a lot of it is trying to kind of, stick your finger in the wind and try to see, where Gen Z is. And also really, I mean, above all, see kind of just where the Twitter algorithms are right now. I mean, it's very hard to look at someone like let's take Matt Gaetz, okay? Matt Gaetz was a former Republican congressman from Florida. Now he hosts a show on One America News. Matt Gaetz and I were very friendly for a while, okay? He had me on his show back in March when my book came out. Ollie, he referred to my book as a battle map to save Western civilization. It was an extraordinarily kind segment. He was asking very intelligent questions. He clearly had read the book. He was engaging with the material in it there. And a few months later, he's talking about Jewish supremacy, a term that has kind of like Der Stürmer origins, and he's had all sorts of horrible guests. I mean, does someone like that actually flip that quickly based on literally from March to June or July? No, of course not. I mean, it defies common sense. It defies reality. That's obviously not what's happening there. Exactly. I think it's just profound cynicism. It's trying to kind of just play for clicks, play for money, and trying to kind of generate some viral clips to appease a small but very vocal and very online segment of the American right and of the American internet user base there.
Boy, you just don't.
I just love that he doesn't even blink as he goes from promoting his book again to then accusing people of wanting money. It's just incredible. As he's completely grifting off of Charlie's death by trying to promote his book as like Charlie's last wish. It's really amazing. Also, why does Michael Knowles randomly catch a stray? Like, what's Michael Knowles been up to that he's like now on their list? Michael Knowles, Megyn Kelly, they're listing them. That's coming next. Okay, inevitably it comes inward. And I just want to be clear in case what he's saying is not registering to you correctly. So
no, it registered correctly, Candace. He's saying that there are people out here that are just trying to profit and get views and clicks off of the death of Charlie Kirk because it's what's trending as well. That's exactly what you're doing. We just heard what he said for ourselves. We don't need you to twist this up. Delusional.
Men, to the extent that you are willing to get out there and work to serve really his book, to sell his book, to serve his interests, which are very clearly Israel, you're cool. No one's going to call you an anti-Semite. Everything can be cool. To the extent that you, I don't know, maybe don't want to do that, you will be ruined. Matt Gaetz, what was he thinking? It's crazy. Like, what on earth was Matt Gaetz thinking? It was great when he was out there pitching Josh Hammer's book, and now he can't be saved. But then, and this is where it gets important, Josh Hammer gets even more specific, addressing the question if Charlie was beginning to crack on his support for Israel. Let's not forget, we already know the answer to this is yes. So looking at this hindsight 2020 really is something. Take a listen.
If he is what?
She really think people are supposed to believe what she say over the letter that Charlie Kirk sent to the Israeli prime minister is absolutely insanity. How do you sit here and try to debunk the letter he personally sent that was proven to be a real authentic letter to the Israeli prime minister, and somehow he was changing his views, and the letter had nothing to do with that. As a matter of fact, he was giving the Israeli prime minister helpful hints and tips on how to actually reshape the image of Israel, because he still loved Israel and want Israel to win. What are you talking about?
Or if he was going in a direction that Candace Owens and others say he was going in, very, very simple point. Would he have had on me and our friend Rabbi Pesach Walicki literally the night before his death to spend an entire hour talking about how to respond to anti-Israel talking points? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It literally simply does not make sense. His heart was absolutely in the right place. Again, he was trying to navigate kind of some very choppy waters.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense.
The only thing that doesn't make sense is Candace actually trying to twist this up.
Trying to navigate some choppy waters with how he was going to address these kids that had some questions about Israel. He was unflinching, but he gratefully had Josh Hammer's book and wanted to go through it and make sure that he remembered everything. Now, this is probably also a great time, referring to that little conference call they had, whatever it was, a Zoom call, to tell you that Rabbi Walicki, was also on the now infamous text chain. So this means that both of those individuals knew exactly where Charlie was at on the topic of Israel and how he felt leading up to that moment of his death. And again, like I said, 2 weeks before that, in the Hamptons, they knew where he was at.
Candace,
Tucker Carlson told you the truth on his stance on Bibi Netanyahu. Nobody wants to address or answer the question of whether or not, when Bibi Netanyahu invited him to Israel, what the context was of that. Do you think that guy who's fighting a 140,000...
Candace, they just addressed it. You just didn't like the answer, as usual. Same thing with the Macrons. They sent exhibits and you didn't want to accept it. You're not going to always hear what you want to hear. They already addressed it. Why didn't you read the letter on your channel? Here's a better question. Why did Candace never have Charlie Kirk on her platform within the past, year or so? When she was fired from the Daily Wire and she started her own podcast, when did she have Charlie Kirk on as a guest? Or Erica Kirk, for that matter? Why not send the invitation for Erica Kirk to come on your platform now? What kind of proof does she have to show that she was a close friend of Charlie? And I'm talking about evidence within the last 2 good years. Plus, you can't just override his wife here. This is insane.
In front war, because he keeps picking fights and pretending he's a victim, really just has time to pick up the phone and shoot the breeze with Charlie Kirk, whose number, according to the released letter, he didn't even have in May. So what's he calling him about? They obviously weren't close if he didn't have his number. Okay?
You weren't close with him either.
So what's he calling Charlie about? Why is he inviting Charlie to Israel 2 weeks before he dies, right? Nobody will address that. Charlie said no. He did. He said no. He didn't flinch. He wasn't even flinching. He was just busy and couldn't make it out to Israel or something. Now, I will say that regarding Rabbi Walicki, I think he has more of a conscience and soul than Josh Hammer. I haven't seen him promoting his book. He doesn't lie as audaciously and as repeatedly and tweets nearly as neurotic
as you do. He doesn't lie as often and as repetitively as you do. Why didn't you have Charlie Kirk on your podcast within the last year? Why don't you invite some of these people from Turning Point to be on your show? If you think it's so bad at Turning Point, Candace, why aren't you helping the so-called people you claim are essentially whistleblowers to come out and give them, some money in case they get fired and have them on your show? How about that? I mean, you're already releasing text messages with no dates. Why not have these people that are sending you this alleged information come on your channel?
As Josh Hammer does, but I want you to listen to what he had to say when asked whether or not Charlie was turning on Israel. Give us our hindsight 2020.
Oh my God.
Walicki.
The wild conspiracy theories online on social media claiming that Israel and the Mossad are behind the assassination of Charlie Kirk because he was turning on Israel. Now, you spoke to him just hours before his death. Did you feel that was the case, that he was in fact turning on Israel?
Look, Midar, I was in touch with Charlie on an almost daily basis for months, and he certainly had some disagreements with Israeli policy, and he criticized Israel where he felt appropriate. He sometimes believed things, like a lot of people do, that are out there in the media, and that was really the substance of our relationship, was checking on things and finding out the truth. But that doesn't mean that he was immune to the negative sentiments that were out there, and there were a lot of people around him in the America First movement who were actively working on him to try to get him to turn on Israel. But the real answer to your question is the meeting that I had with him. And the entire purpose of the meeting, called by Charlie called this meeting, and it was on our schedule for weeks, was that he was going out on a campus tour. Utah was the first stop on his new campus tour. And what a lot of people in Israel do not realize, or in the pro-Israel community do not realize, is that between 40 and 50% of all of the questions and challenges that he would get on these campus tours were usually about Israel. Because the campuses, of course, have a lot of anti-Israel sentiment, and Charlie was known as a supporter of Israel. So he ended up being in a position where he was defending Israel all the time. And it drove him crazy because he wanted to talk about America, but he was defending Israel all the time. So in preparation for this new campus tour, he called a meeting of a few people that he trusted to talk about Israel issues and to anticipate the questions that he would be getting, the challenge.
Candace, it's very possible for someone to be frustrated and even disagree with things that are going on in Israel, their decisions, the missile attacks and all this stuff. It's easy for people to just say they disagree without having to full blown just do a 180 and actually, denounce Israel. He never changed his support for Israel. But like most people, he had his frustrations and questions and concerns about it. And yes, when he wrote the letter, because what this is doing is validating the letter even more. Because the letter is the prime example of him voicing his concerns and frustration for feeling like he's being put into a position where he's the mouthpiece. Not because the Israeli prime minister told him to do it, but because he's being hit with so many questions and because people know that he was a strong supporter of Israel. So any natural, reasonable person would get upset and irritated at having to answer questions for a country he doesn't reside in, but he still supports and loves. And he wanted Israel to pick up the weight and to pick up the slack when it came to answering those questions that the kids had on these college campuses. That's all. It doesn't mean he shifted his stance on Israel altogether. So what this is doing is giving more credibility to that 7-page letter that Charlie Kirk wrote to the Israeli PM.
That he would be getting on this campus tour, and to make sure that he had the truth and that he could formulate answers that he was comfortable with. If Charlie had turned on Israel, why would he even bother with a meeting like that? Why would he call a meeting with a few pro-Israel friends of his to talk through Israel issues, to make sure that his facts were straight and his talking points were straight so that he could defend Israel better? Right. If he was turning on Israel, he would have had Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson in the meeting planning to throw Israel under the bus. The entire premise of the meeting refutes that theory.
The letter refutes that theory.
How are you feeling about that?
Candace, what point are you proving with it? I feel no different. How do you take the 7-page letter that he wrote to the Israeli prime minister, which is supporting what this man just said, and then act like it doesn't exist, as if he didn't write that? This is a prime example of Candace not wanting to accept tangible evidence and documentation to prove something. When she's wrong and she knows it, then she tries to put in as much doubt into the situation as she can. This video does nothing but prove that the average reasonable person can have a disagreement on a topic and still support the country overall. So I don't. Let me just put it like this. When it comes to the Macron's case, we don't care what's going on in France. But just because we may not pay attention to every little thing going on in France does not mean that I don't support the Macron seeking justice when it comes to Candace Owens' highly defamatory statements about the First Lady being born a man and all her dumb conspiracies that went along with it. But she still had no scientific evidence to prove otherwise. Scientific evidence. It's like she's using Charlie Kirk's death to hide behind the reality that is about to hit her in the court of law. This is after she lied about not seeking a dismissal on the case and then turns around and files a motion to dismiss. And then doubled down and still said that she was a man. And then lied and said, you're not suing me because I said you were born a man. When that's most of the foundation of that lawsuit, which was recently amended, by the way. They amended the lawsuit because she keeps doubling down on it. You can't make this stuff up. This man is not saying anything any differently that Charlie Kirk did not express in his 7-page letter to the Israeli prime minister. A letter that Candace Owens refuses to acknowledge. Why don't you just read the 7-page letter, Candace? You can't say what he did and did not believe, especially at this point when he's not even here to defend himself. When everyone else is saying the opposite of what you're saying. Yes, there were frustrations. He expressed that in the letter directly to the Israeli prime minister. But he also offered resolutions. What the hell resolution are you offering, Candace, right now? How are you solving anything? It's like you're back towards this whole, yeah, Israel has something to do with it sort of thing. Because all the other batshit crazy conspiracies that you had weren't sticking. Unbelievable.
Oh, that Charlie actually mentioned both Tucker and Candace 48 hours earlier as they were trying to do what they always do, which is control who he's allowed to speak to, control who I was allowed to speak to back when I was
did you last speak to him?
The Zionist movement and waking up and realizing something was dangerously wrong when they started to try to control my voice. It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable to reflect on that. Now, I would say again, Rabbi Walicki, more of a soul. He's at least acknowledging that something was going on, right? I don't think he would have been comfortable pulling the Josh. It was great. It was amazing. Buy my book, right? He loved every second. He's amazing. Oh my God, he just wished he could have gone over. The one thing that hurt Charlie Kirk the most was that he would never be able to wear an IDF uniform. He just wanted to go fight for Israel. That's kind of the vibes that they were trying to put out there. At least Rabbi Walicki is like, he was under some pressure, okay? He's saying it softly, but he's like, he was kind of needing to...
No, he said what he meant, and he meant what he said, Candace. Okay. This is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
That is not talked about and everyone's waking up to. It's the fact that everything starts in your gut. Every day your gut is fighting a silent war against processed food, work stress, toxins in the air that we're breathing. When your gut is in trouble, your whole body feels it. Most probiotics do not work. 99% of traditional brands die in your stomach acid before they reach your gut, which is what makes Just Thrive spore-based probiotic completely different. Just Thrive is the only probiotic that is clinically proven to arrive 100% alive in your gut, which means it does something that no probiotic can. It turns your gut into an antioxidant factory, creating protective compounds exactly where you need them most, which means better digestion,
she'll give out her
healthy immunity, more
sponsorships
energy,
in a minute,
weight
though.
management.
She's making a whole lot of money on these videos.
Capsule or berry-flavored gummy. From their award-winning probiotic to their full line of gut, immune, and brain health
grief.
supplements,
All these
Just Thrive has been fighting to make Americans healthy again with science-backed solutions that you can trust.
No one is asking her for evidence on this.
And take control of your health today. Visit JustThriveHealth.com and
Someone
you'll save
said, "Now you
20%
talk too
with
much."
promo code Candace. You'll see the difference yourself. Or you'll get a full product refund, no questions asked. So take control today. All points bulletin. Mark has got a lot of random facts about every subject up there in his brain. We're not really sure why. First order of business, I got to put out this all points bulletin. I'm looking for footage on UVU campus, some particular footage from people that were there that day. And I want to be real specific here so we don't clog up the inbox, because obviously when you send footage, it's a bigger file. I'm looking for video footage of any older males, okay, any older males that day that have long hair that was up in a ponytail or a bun.
Why?
So if you're a UVU student or you know someone who was UVU.
Oh my God. Do you know how many that you're asking? You know how many videos you can get of older males with ponytails? You know, just for fun, I hope all the people that are there at the UVU campus decides to put on a fake ponytail. So you can end up getting a whole bunch of people walking around, older males with ponytails. Just for the fun of it all. Yeah, y'all go ahead and go buy some wigs or something and put them up in ponytails so that, you know, every man walking that campus will fit that description. That you see how you got to play into this and then just kind of beat her at her own game. I hope that every male, older male, that she is describing goes on that UVU campus, puts on a man unit or a wig, and put their hair up in that a ponytail, just for the sake of her cult members going and recording videos. That would be so hilarious. It would be like everybody's wearing a costume and you can't tell who is who and what is what. That would drive her nuts, because you know she's not going to vet any of these tips she gets. She's not going to vet it at all. She's going to put it all out there. What you're asking them to do is to post up videos of any and every person just so your cult-like base can go after these people, dox them, harass them, and make them miserable. All because they were there at the event. You understand what you're asking 5+ million people to do, Candace? You're asking them to basically go out and expose any older male with a ponytail and subject them to harassment from your cult base. And I'm saying cult base because they're not thinking for themselves at all. They're going to go say, oh, okay, yeah, we'll do that. They won't think twice about, oh, you know, if I do that and then she pulls their video up, how do I know this person won't be harassed? How do I know this person won't be targeted? How do I know this person would not be subjected to, you know, some type of bullying or spying or stalking? Because you can't control your entire base. You can't say what these people will and will not do. You have people that might just do something crazy and criminal in the name of Candace Owens. It is a very dangerous down. You all see why I did that video about her potentially cyber harassing people. Because that's what she's going to be subjecting these people to. Then they're going to get doxxed. People are going to be finding out who they are. Then next thing you know, they're going to be harassed. People going to be pulling up at their house, calling their phone, flooding their emails, calling their employers. All this nonsense simply because she's looking for older males with ponytails. Now, all of these people that have any similar description that fit that profile, anything that fits that profile, that she deems is somehow worthy to put up and show on her channel, she's going to do that. And just like with Phil Lyman, she's going to be putting these people in a position to be harassed and to be doxxed and to be stalked and to be subjected to all kinds of dumb shit that they don't deserve simply because they were at the campus at the time Charlie Kirk lost his life. This is what she's asking her audience to do. This is very, very dangerous. Ugh. All right. I can't take no more of this. I'm done. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button on this. I just wanted to do a quick reaction in real time because Candace has lost her damn mind. And now she's about to subject a bunch of innocent people into, her buffoonery and debauchery. And these poor people are about to get cyber harassed now because 5 million people are going to do what she says. Not even that. She just need a strong 15, 20,000. And it's about to get pathetic. So if any of you out there that are older gentlemen with ponytails and you end up having your face plastered all over Candace Owens' video, you need to report that shit to the FBI. Be done with it because this is not going to end. All right. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the Lady Luck Club. We're hitting 30,000. 2 more thousand people to subscribe to the Lady Luck Club. Make it happen. Because if she can get 5 million people to just do everything she say without really asking questions about this, how would they get in trouble if they did? Yeah, we can get 2,000 more people. All right. Deuces.